Alowitz, and welcome to the Leadership Journey. I'm here today with Dr. Brett Savage. Welcome.
How are you? Thanks.
We are here today to talk about emotional intelligence. You remember back from last October, we had some homework pieces to complete, and I'd like to spend a little time interviewing Brett today about emotional intelligence. So I've got maybe 3 questions for you today,
Okay.
Brett. The first question, would you be willing to speak to, you introduced us to Martin Buber and the IU concept. Speak to that if you would, and tell us more about what that concept is about.
Well, I chose Martin Buber because he's simple to grasp. Most philosophers aren't. And he allows us to ask the question, is it possible, and if it was possible, that you and I could choose our emotional responses to people? Then his language, I at IU, was helpful. You're either the I, the individual that sees others in this inconvenient, oppressive way, or you see them as a real human being who might be giving offense, but you don't take offense at what they do. Case in point, quick story. I'm driving in this car in the passenger seat on a very busy LA freeway. A car cuts us off, not just a slight inconvenience. He has to slam the brakes on. And it was quite frankly very scary for a moment. And this person continued to weave through traffic. And in that instant, I took offense, which, remember I asked you how long does it take to get from you to I it, and most of you snapped your fingers? That's how long it takes. We can choose that quickly. Well, my immediate response, which only shows you how practiced I am at taking offense at people, was to take grave issue, and I muttered something under my breath that was very unkind, I don't want to repeat, about what an idiot, this was. And his response was immediate as well. His was, gosh, I hope she drives more safely. I'm kind of worried about her. And I wondered to myself, what planet is this guy from? So it was instances like that in my own life and in my own studies that showed that emotional intelligence, and we called it the origin of emotional intelligence, was that we have much more choice in how we respond to people than we may think. So they can either be an inconvenience to us, a burden to be borne, or we can actually see their inconveniences or the burdens they have to bear. The outcomes at home and at work have already been expressed by many of you in emails to me, that you're turning your chair, we use that metaphor, you're turning your chair toward them, not requiring them to change, but only you being different has net some really nice results. Great,
yes. And thank you to all of you who were willing to reach out to Brett. He's immensely enjoyed getting those emails.
I've been amazed, yeah. They've been great, thanks.
Well, that brings us to the second question I've got for you, Brett. Part of the homework that each of us had on the journey was to select and heal a business relationship with whom you can create future value.
Okay.
Could you speak to this healing process? Because
Sure.
I know for several of our members, there was some uncomfortableness in trying to understand what that is and what it is not.
Yeah. Well, the word heal is strong enough, and I remember we bantered that about, is that the word we use? Mm-hmm. Okay, improve a relationship. Fix it, make it a little better. I'm under confidence in emails, and people share these stories with me, and I won't break those now, but if I might, is that several of you have already written and said that you're turning your chair, not requiring the other person to turn their chair, but you simply seeing them with this possibility. So that one said, before I even went into the meeting, I made sure that my defensiveness was non-existent. And strange how their response was immediate. Things like, we communicate easier, we communicate faster, we communicate more clearly with each other, without this background noise of suspicion or fear or mistrust. And laying that vulnerability out there, they said, I didn't do anything to change the other person, but they were more amenable to and seemed to listen better. And this is both at home and at work, which is kind of appealing because it says our 2 probably greatest relationships are loved ones at home and work, and the outcomes have been really nice so far.
Great. Yeah. No, that's great. Thank you for sharing that. All right, so then Another part of the homework for each of us on the journey was to discover, after we took the time to heal the relationship, or to begin that healing process,
Right.
we were to discover the future value, anything that will add measurable business results as a result of our healing process. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I could tell you too many stories of those who have forestalled misunderstandings. You remember I was asking you questions about when you do this at work with others. We filled an entire whiteboard of what happens. Wasted time, wasted energy, creativity poured into defending myself against you, so you're not going to get the better of me. That all disappears. And what happens is that instead we're actually pouring our creativity into solving the problem on the table. Instead of me hesitating, and again, I'm trying to keep confidence of those who've shared stories already, instead of me hesitating, telling you what I really think, I actually tell you what I really think. I put it all on the table, and even if I disagree, and particularly if I disagree with you, it's out on the table. So what I have is, instead of being disagreeable with you, I simply disagree about how to approach or solve this issue, and when it's all on the table, you're saying, then we can pick and choose what we need, and everyone seems to be better at it. So the solutions come when we can disagree without being disagreeable with each other, and the I seems to be helping already.
Okay.
Smoothing that out.
Yeah, right. I like that. One last question I have for you, because in preparation for this video, Brett was talking about this idea of how powerful I at IU can be. Speak to just briefly, as we kind of close down this video, getting to a spot where we see people as IU, and it can jumpstart us, not even getting to the spot where we do get angry or do lose control. Or speak to that if you would.
I was working years ago with some dysfunctional families. They would come to a seminar, and we'd spend pretty much all day Saturday talking about IU, sharing stories. I'd tell my stories. I would have them write their stories as I ask you to write yours, share some insights. They could return the next month again. This is kind of a revolving family and a residential treatment program that I was working with. And this woman writes me a letter saying, I thought I was able to identify the IIT relationships I was with in my life and to heal them. But the second time I came to the seminar, I realized I still had a lot of way to go. Part of that long way to go, she was having struggles with her son. I think it was about 14 years old. And she said, I knew I needed to heal that relationship, probably more than anything else. She said, even when he was a young kid, little kid, he was so active, I would have to sing him songs and rub his back to get him to relax enough just to go to sleep. And even as I would express my love for him, she said, quote, in the back of my mind, I was still saying in this whisper, this kid is driving me crazy. She said, I wondered if he had been picking up on those vibes. She said, you had said something of our heart, the truth of our heart leaks out, even though we try to hide it by saying, I love you. She said, I wonder if he was picking up on those things. She said, I wondered what to do. I brought him with me next month to the class. I think he was 12 at the time. Even though he was young, she says, I figured it was the right thing to do. And on our way home, as we drove home, we just, both of us let go of all this tension and weirdness. And we felt love and trusted. And she said, now, since that time, he was a little kid, I've had to remind him to do his chores and practice piano and do the, homework. But there's no more resentment on my part and no resistance on his. She said, over the years, as that played itself out, it just then seeped into all the other relationships, she said, at home and at work, where people were resistant. The resistance just sort of diminished so that we could actually talk about the real issues. So the impact is that once you start this journey, that just maybe we can, that free will, that we can will something different, meaning starting here. Not I change you so you see me better. I simply give you a person that sees you as you. Yeah. It has a very powerful invitation for you to give up seeing me that way without me trying to change you at all. And the impact at work and at home, they just keep rolling out. And you've already begun it,
Yeah.
Anderson Hauser. I'm really proud of you, by the way. Thanks.
Thank you for that.
Bet.
This whole journey has really been about the journey of self-discovery, and I really like and appreciate your comments this morning, because for you, for me, the journey towards personal and organizational preeminence really begins right here. So thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Thanks.